Hi, this is Mr. World at creatortest.co.uk, and today we're having a look at direct proportion. So we've got a question here where we've got a car that uses petrol and it travels a certain distance based on the amount of petrol it has. So a car uses 3 litres of petrol when it travels 50 kilometres. Work out the amount of petrol a car uses when it travels 20 kilometres. A lot of people know that have seen a lot of my questions before. I like to work in terms of ratios. So we're going to start off by writing a ratio. This side looks at litres, this side looks at kilometres. And what we're going to do first of all then is work out how many litres I would need of petrol to go 10 kilometres. Now why have I picked 10? Well, if you think about it, eventually I've got to get to 20 kilometres, and the operation to get from 50 to 10 is very simple. How do I get from 50 to 10? And we're thinking about equivalent ratios here. I divide by 5. We all know a ratio. If I divide both sides of the ratio by the same number, I get an equivalent ratio. And then how am I going to get from a 10 to a 20? Well, I'm going to multiply by 2. So I need to do exactly the same to the other side of the ratio to keep it equivalent. So I'm going to start by dividing 3 by 5. Now you can either do this with a calculator, which should probably give you 0.6, or you can write 3/5. Some people choose to do that, but either acceptable as long as you get an answer that's the same or equivalent to 0.6. And then what you're going to do is, well, to keep the ratio equivalent again, you're going to times by 2. So 0.6 times 2, according to my calculator, is 1.2. So the amount of petrol it uses to travel 20 kilometres, 1.2 litres. Right, we're going to do exactly the same for part 2 then. This time though, we've got the number of litres and want to see how far we can travel. So if we start off with a ratio of 3 to 5 again, or 3 to 50 again, sorry, and this is kilometres, and this is litres. Now, we're eventually trying to get to 1.47 litres, so we're dealing with the opposite side of the ratio this time. Now, we're going to use a similar technique. In order to get to 1.74 litres, first of all I'm going to find out how far I'd go on 1 litre, and then I'm going to find out from that how far I'd go on 1.47 litres. So 3 litres to 1 litre, I have to divide by 3 to keep the ratios equivalent. If I'm going to do the same to the distance then, I divide 50 by 3, and I can type this into my calculator to give me 16.6 recurring, and that little dot there means recurring for those that have not seen it before. But if you want to write 16.6666 instead, that's fine. Okay, so now I've got to go from 1 to 1.47. So what I'm going to times by, well, if I times 1 by 1.47, I get 1.47. So what must I do to the other side? I must also times by 1.47. So I haven't actually removed the 16.66666 off my calculator, and I press multiply or times by 1.47. And that gives me the number 24.5. If you've got a slightly different number to this, you've probably not left 16.6666 on your calculator. So how far will I travel on 1.47 litres? There's your answer right there. It is 24.5 miles. Oh no, kilometres, sorry. Sticking to the metric system.